Imagine you had a great idea and shared it with the world. To make it a better place. To make it cleaner and quieter. To make people more comfortable. Businesses more successful. The world more connected. Would an idea that great ever fly? It will, and like nothing else. Boeing, forever new frontiers.
You talk too much. I can't believe the things that you say.
Chris Dodd, Sam Brownback,
Richard Haass, Dr. Cohen, Ambassador Edwin, Tom Ricks,
Tony Blair, Gordon Smith, Joe Biden,
Carl Levin, Trent Lott,
Jane Harman, Chris Shays, James Baker, Lee Hamilton,
James Baker, Lee Hamilton,
James Baker, Lee Hamilton,
James Baker, Lee Hamilton.
What we're saying in this report is we want to conclude this war. We want to conclude it in a responsible way. We want to handle it deliberately and carefully. We want to protect the American interests involved.
We are suggesting changing the primary mission of U.S. forces there. The training of Iraqi forces has been a secondary or tertiary objective.
In the broad sense, and this was the right thing for everyone to focus on, changed the framework of our debate about Iraq. It changed the vocabulary.
No one but the president and the vice president is talking about if we're going to draw down American troops. Everyone's talking about how and when. I think the president, God love him, as my mother would say, thinks there is a Thomas Jefferson or a Madison behind every sand dune waiting to jump up, and there are none.
The key point, I think, where they say it has to be conditional. In other words, we stay as long as the Iraqis do their part. But the moment they stop doing their part, we're out of there. Months to begin and a year or so before we start drawing our troops out.
Taken as a whole and looked at in any context, this is a stay-the-course document.
Both the process was flawed and the substance was flawed. The process was flawed because this was a report that was driven at consensus.
Well, I think there's growing impatience across the country with what's taking place in Iraq as it seems to break down more on sectarian lines. And it's nothing just what Gordon Smith is saying, it's everybody. And I'm not jumping ship. I just think it's time that we really put pressure on this situation.
In a military context, when you do the same thing over and over again, without a clear strategy for victory, at the expense of your young people in arms, that is dereliction. That is deeply immoral. I cannot, in good conscience, any longer support a policy which is essentially, let's hit them and then let's run.
I think the members want us to look to other alternatives and ideas.
Why don't we move from what we agree on? There's a consensus that there is no solution in Iraq other than the Iraqis reaching a political solution. And I hope the president will send a message before the 13th to the Iraqis that no, the open-ended commitment is over.
We may have to, quite honestly, as bad as it sounds, think about letting a civil war rage for a while, but hopefully keeping it from spilling beyond its borders, bringing in the region.
So no regrets.
The aftermath. No, I don't regret the decision. In respect of all the things that have happened since then, of course, you go back over those things and you think about it and reflect it.
It wasn't a mistake to go into Iraq at this point?
Absolutely, that's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it would be a dishonorable mistake to retreat and to be defeated in Iraq.
It's not a matter of retreat and defeat. It's a matter of acknowledging that we have gone in there and made a mess.
How angry are you at the Speaker-to-be, Nancy Pelosi, for deciding you should not be the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, even though you were in line to become the chair?
It was her choice. Obviously, I had hoped to stay. I thought I'd earned it and that it had been promised. But I think Silva Reyes is an excellent choice. He has my support.
Well, it just points out how difficult it is for people to police their own body. And frankly, I think there should have been more than just a description of what happened, but some people should have been held accountable.
Governor Mitt Romney of Massachusetts has apparently changed his positions on abortion and now it turns out on gay rights since the 1990s. These things come out during lengthy campaigns, and Mitt Romney is a wonderful American with great accomplishments. I think they should examine track records, examine mine, examine other people's to make decisions about where they think that person is on the topics.
He's a very, very competent political figure, and the brevity of his service is certainly a matter people will talk about, but the quality of that service, I think, has been first rate.
Chris Shays, Jane Harman, let me congratulate both of you on being reelected. Chris Shays narrowly being reelected, but I'm sure you're happy to be here in Washington. Thanks very much to both of you.
You talk too much. I can't believe the things that you say.
Imagination is the bridge to the future. Boeing, forever new frontiers.